Guys, got another simple maintenance video for you. This happens to be a 2.2 liter Ecotec 4-cylinder GM engine. It's sitting inside of a 2004 Chevrolet Cavalier, so this is going to be a similar layout for any other vehicles that's using that. We're going to do an oil change, oil and filter change. You know, while you're under here, you can take a look and check that you have the appropriate amount of coolant, antifreeze coolant. You can check over here, make sure that your brake fluid is correct. Of course, you can top off your washer fluid and your power steering fluid. But what we're going to do first is we're going to remove our oil filler cap here. Just give us some more ventilation to put it down. You'll always know what kind of oil to get on top of these caps, 5W30 in the case of this Ecotec 2.2. The oil filter is sitting inside this canister down here, and I'm going to show you how to get that off easily after we drain the oil. So I'm going to go underneath now, and we're going to show you where the oil drain plug is for this particular type of engine. Now I've got this guy sitting on top of on a ramp. You don't really have to do this. It's kind of cramped, but you could do it with the vehicle on the ground. At least I have been able to. Just going to get myself a little rag, excuse me, a little spill cloth underneath the pan. But I got this guy up on ramps just so we can get an easier job filming this. I'm going to come underneath here with a flashlight just to make sure this is all clear. All right. So as you come underneath the vehicle here, this is a front-wheel drive vehicle. It's real easy to identify stuff when you're up here. You got your transmission. This would be your transmission pan. This L-shaped guy over here. Right here is what we're looking for. This is the sump of our engine. And right on the back here is our oil drain plug. Just need to get yourself a 15 millimeter socket, or in my case, we'd use a box end wrench. Get yourself some leverage on here. Get it loose. Get your pan underneath. This guy just right so that he comes out. There we go. All right. I'm going to drain him out. While he's draining out, you know, you can check out, make sure that your drain plug is in good shape. There's no metal chunks sticking to the magnet at the end. You still have your black O-ring, rubber O-ring under there. And you want to make sure that the flanges on the bolt itself aren't stripped. The only way they're going to get that way is if somebody tries to use a crescent wrench or the wrong tool to get it off. Okay, we're going to let this guy drain out, and we'll come back and show the filter part. I've got this guy drained out here. Let me just show you this piece. You know, I cleaned up this bolt just to give you a better look. You know, if you take care of these things, use the right tools. I've had this vehicle since new, right? And so it's all in good shape. Anyway, we're going to put this back on. Just kind of thread him on by hand right before you get done. Wrap up some of that oil, not all of it, because it makes for a good seal underneath the rubber gasket. And you can go ahead, and I don't bother torquing things like this because they're too hard to get off. You just give it a nice snug by hand, and you're done. All right, now let's take a look at the top. I'm going to come back up on top, and we'll get the oil filter out. And the way I like to get this out is I use a 1 1/4 English socket. You can see there's a hex head on top of the cover of the oil filter canister. Get this guy on with a swivel. You're not going to be able to leave the whole thing in here, but it's just enough to get it loose. And once you get it loose, you can get your hand in here. Once you get it loose, you'll be able to get it up the rest of the way with your hand once you do get it loose. I've just found this to be a little bit less damaging to the plastic top than if I were to try and put a crescent wrench in or something like that. Just a matter of how much it takes before it finally lets go. There we go. Just screw this off by hand. And then I'll get the light in there so you can see what we're talking about, so you can familiarize yourself with your own vehicle. So What we've done here, you can see we've threaded this out of the container. The actual filter is attached on the inside. So we can lift this guy out. You let him drift a little bit and turn him upside down like this, and there's your filter. It just snaps right off. Get the new filter here. Replace it with a AC Delco, and it's a PF 457G for this particular engine, Ecotec 2.2 liter. Again, this guy just sits on here, snaps right on. New gasket right on the bottom, that aqua colored guy. We put him back in, self-centering. You start him in by hand. As soon as he's snug by hand, I like to take that same tool arrangement I showed you before with that 1 1/4 socket, put him back on there, take my wrench, and you don't want it too tight, just want to snug it up. You sure don't want it leaking. As soon as it gets to where just a couple of fingers it won't go, you're done. Clean up anything you might have spilt, getting the filter out. A couple of drops I got on there. And then we're going to add our oil up here. In my case, for this particular engine, what I found is with this drain approach and with the angle we have with the ramps, it takes 4 quarts to top it back off. I'm going to top it back off and we're done. I hope this video helps you out. Thanks a lot.